1 year ago on this day, I made bold predictions for the 2023 NASCAR season. Let's make them for 2024. Hey everyone, my name is Taylor Kitchen and welcome to Above the Yellow Line, where we do motorsports media your way, talking about NASCAR literally all the time. And a year ago to the day, I made a predictions video for the 2023 season. I like to put one out the week before the Clash just so it's fresh in everyone's mind as we head into the first race weekend of the year. And I like to combine the preseason, the postseason, so playoffs and all, for all of the NASCAR top 3 national series. I will say, spoiler warning, I will not, and I can't do this for you or for me, make weather predictions this time around. I cannot believe I predicted that the 600 would get rained out back in January last year, and I went there, and that weekend was miserable. NASCAR did the best they could with it, but for my sake and for your sake, we'll not be making any weather predictions this time around. With that said, let's get right into it with prediction number 1. We're going to jump right ahead to 2025. I know this is for 2024, but I think sometime this season they're going to announce the broadcast booth for the Xfinity Series on the CW. I also think they're going to announce the broadcast booth for our new TV deal for the NASCAR Cup Series with the streaming deals we have on Amazon and HBO. And I'm going to make a bold prediction, and I don't know if this is bold or not, but I think our buddy Alan Bestwick is coming back. He has to. I mean, SRX is no more. We don't know if they're returning in 2025 or not. I guess I could make a prediction on that, but I'm not going to. But Alan is too good to not be in the booth for NASCAR at this point. With there being so many avenues for him to be put into play, I say NASCAR needs to do it. Even if it's just for like 5 weeks or 10 weeks, if he shares custody between Amazon and HBO. But I think NASCAR is going to announce this and they're going to say Alan Bestwick is one of our guys. It's also very optimal that they're going to share talent between the Fox booth and the NBC booth. I get that. I think that's cost effective. It just depends on if their contracts will allow them to do streaming on Amazon, HBO. But I think that's also a very real possibility. But I do think we're going to get an announcement sometime probably towards the end of the 2024 season on what this is going to look like, or maybe to start the hype up, we're going to get an announcement in the summer. I don't know, but that's at least my first bold prediction, is that Alan Bestwick is going to come back in 2025. My next prediction is for the Cup Series, specifically because, of course, Stewart-Haas Racing won the championship in the Xfinity Series with Stone Cold Cole. But I do think the hype that SHR is putting into the world, whether we think it's too much or not, I think it's going to pay off, and I think they're going to come back in a big way. And I really do think, along with this prediction, that Noah Gragson has the potential to make the playoffs. However, that potential, I think, is going to fall short by 1 or 4 spots. So I do think Noah Gragson is going to have a comeback year for his career. His first full-time try in the Cup Series at Legacy Motor Club in the 42 was quite honestly abysmal. That whole team had a very off year. But I think Noah is going to find his footing at Stewart-Haas Racing. I think that organization that's in a rebuild period with 2 veteran drivers in Chase Briscoe and in Ryan Preece, with 2 new drivers to the Cup Series, or newer, I should say, with Josh Berry and Noah Gragson. I think they're going to try to finally find a groove, and they're going to be successful in doing that. I do think that their organization is going to get more than 2 wins this season, so we'll mark that down as well, which means that their drivers will be playoff eligible. I think that's going to be the shock, is we're going to see 2 or more of their drivers be playoff eligible. So I feel like that was a very dense prediction because I put a lot into that. So when I go back to watch this at the end of the season, I'm going to have to be really specific on what did and what didn't happen. Let's switch to another Ford driver in Hailie Deegan. She's making her first full-time run in the Xfinity Series this year for AM Racing. Though she made headlines when she had a great debut in the Xfinity Series at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, I don't think that hype is going to live up to this year. I think that she's going to struggle. She's going to go winless, and I think she's only going to have, I was going to say 4 top 10s. I'm going to make it 6 top 10s. I don't think she cracks the top 10 a lot. This is not what I want for Hailie. I love her. I think she is fantastic for women in the sport. She has potential, but I think this is going to be a growing pains type of year for her in AM Racing, being their only flagship driver. I did have another prediction that I'm not going to count against me if it's wrong, but I think Hailie Deegan, either this year or next year, so maybe we'll save this for 2025, will make a Cup Series start. For one reason or another, I think she might make a Cup Series start. My thought process is maybe she makes it at RWR, but I also know that the number 15 car is full at this point, I think, with Kaz Gralla, Riley Herbst, and Cody Ware. So we'll see. Again, that's a bold prediction that I'm probably going to save to 2025, and if it's wrong this year, I'm not going to count it against me. You guys are thinking I'm crazy at this point. I know. I can feel it through the screen. I really can. So Hailie Deegan, I think, only gets 6 top 10s and goes winless in 2024, a rocky start to her Xfinity Series career. I feel like I'm making all my predictions for Ford. I swear that's not the intent, but let's talk about Brad Keselowski. Every year I've come out with a prediction video. I've had a prediction for Brad because I want this guy to succeed so bad it kills me. And I think this year he finally breaks through and gets a win at RFK. He's had moments this past season where he's let Chris Buescher shine. He's pushed Chris Buescher to a victory. I think this year Brad finally has the opportunity to win for himself, focus on himself and his success. And quite frankly, I hope he does it in one of the build submarine paint schemes because those just came out and those are so good. They look so good. Regardless, I think Brad does finally break through and get a win this season. And I'm going to add to this, I think that win comes at a non-super speedway track, his first win of the season. I think it will. So if it's not apparent by the Brad Keselowski prediction, I just want to mention here, I'm not making my predictions basic. I'm adding layers to them to make them more complicated. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There's no debating any other way like I did last year and the year before. These predictions are what I'm going to call onion predictions. They have layers. They're not simple. They're complex. So Brad Keselowski is going to finally break through in 24, winning his first race of the season, not at a super speedway track. Okay, it's time to switch manufacturers. Let's talk about Toyota. Ford has a winning streak at Michigan International Speedway that needs to get broken, and Toyota has been the team that's been on the heels of Ford, especially the past few seasons with their qualifying efforts at Michigan. They've been phenomenal there, but when it comes to the race win, they fall just shy of it. Martin Truex Jr. in 2023 fell just shy to Chris Buescher. So I think this year the Ford streak dies and finally Toyota takes a win at Michigan in the Cup Series. Speaking of Toyota, I think there is going to be at least one driver that announces their retirement from full-time racing. And I said this last season, I thought it was Martin Truex Jr. He's kind of going year by year, seeing where it takes him. I think after this year, he's done. I don't want him to be. I have a helmet right back there. It's a full-size Martin Truex Jr. helmet. I love the guy. But I think after this season, I think he's done. I think he announces his retirement. I think we could see another driver possibly announce their retirement. I don't know who that would be. My fear goes to Brad Keselowski. I don't want that to happen. I think he still has a few more years left in him. I think Kyle Busch has a few more years left in him as well. Denny Hamlin clearly isn't going to retire anytime soon. And I don't want any of these guys to retire because they're staples to me in the Cup Series. But I think MTJ says goodbye at the end of 2024. Let's move back to the Xfinity Series here. I have a bold prediction for KAULIG because the hype surrounding them this season, I think, can't go overstated. I'm excited for them this coming season. They have a fantastic and interesting lineup of drivers with AJ Allmendinger moving back to Xfinity full-time in the 16. You have Josh Williams moving over to KAULIG, a fantastic driver, a fantastic person, and you have SVG doing a full-time stint in the Xfinity Series. That is a fantastic team right there of personalities and talents. And my prediction is all three of those cars make the playoffs for the Xfinity Series. I think that is very bold considering that SVG's time on oval tracks has been incredibly minimal. I don't think he's going to win at an oval track, but I think a win at a road course could get him into the playoffs. So the risk in this prediction is Shane Van Gisbergen. I know that for a fact, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities for all of their drivers to make the playoffs. Now, the field this year for Xfinity is stacked from drivers that are moving from truck to Xfinity or from drivers that have moved around to different teams where I think their talent can be elevated. So again, if you don't watch the Xfinity Series, look at me in the eyes. You're going to watch it this year. You have to watch it this year because it is some of the best racing that NASCAR has to offer. It is phenomenal. There are great personalities in it. Every year, it is such a treat. And this is the year that you need to start watching it if you're not. A little PSA from me, but you got to watch it. Just watch the Xfinity Series. But KAULIG, I think they get all three of their full-time drivers in the playoffs for the Xfinity Series. All right, I have a prediction that's like in the realm of NASCAR, but it's more sponsorship based. I think we're going to see a watermelon beer this year with Busch Beer and Ross Chastain. By the way, that paint scheme looks killer. It looks so good. I think we're going to get a watermelon beer and a watermelon car for Ross Chastain with Busch Beer. If we don't get that this year, that is a huge miss, a huge disappointment. I think that is so fun to market, so easy to market, and NASCAR fans will eat that crap up. So I think we are going to get a watermelon beer car for Ross Chastain. I feel like that was a very light prediction. Like, it's a fun prediction, but it's not like hard hitting. So let's go bold. You want me to go bold? Let's go bold. I think all 3 series will have a first-time champion in 2024. No repeat champions, all first-time champs. So I think this year we have an opportunity to do that. However, I do see in the Cup Series in particular some drivers that are probably going to deter that from happening. I think Chase Elliott can come back with a vengeance. I think Kyle Larson is a favorite as always to win the championship title. So we will have to see if that prediction comes true. And the final prediction I have is a very early championship 4. I'm awful at making decisions, and I usually pick 5 drivers for the championship 4, 2 of those being interchangeable. If one doesn't make it, of course, the other will. But I have to be okay with the consequences to my actions here and actually make a decision. So I have this written down here. I actually said this in a TikTok live that I did with one of my buddies a few months ago, and I'm sticking to it. My championship 4 for 2024 is Joey Logano. He makes it in even numbered years all the time. This is another repeat of that stat. William Byron. Can the 24 get it in 24? I think his talent is grown over the years. His ability to make the playoffs and stay in the playoffs has obviously grown. Yes, they had a rough ride at Martinsville last year, but they were able to maintain enough points to make it to the championship 4 and fight for a championship. Granted, when Christopher Bell's car was out of the fight, his was the weakest of those 4. But William Byron will win a championship someday. Mark my words, he will in the next 5 years. Let's make that prediction right now. He will win a championship in the next 5 years. I just don't know if it's this year. Then we have Denny Hamlin. I think he finally makes it back into the championship 4 and will make a bid for the title. Last but not least, I'm so questioning this. I'm between so many drivers. I'm between Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, and I feel like a really crazy pick for the championship 4 would be someone like a Ty Gibbs or even Ross Chastain. I don't think Ross Chastain in the championship 4 is crazy because he's already made it before, but considering where Trackhouse was in 2023, that feels kind of far-fetched. However, the final spot in the championship 4, I'm gonna go with Chris Buescher. And I'm really betting on RFK to continue that momentum that they had in 2023 and Chris continuing that. The only downside I see is the tracks in the playoffs, the second half of the playoffs, are not strong ones for RFK. And considering that Ford has a new body style, the Dark Horse, and even Toyota too, it's a risk to say that these teams, the Fords and the Toyotas, are going to have an easy bid into the championship 4 to begin with. I only put 1 Chevy in the championship 4 in a year where we have 2 new body styles for Toyota and Ford. I feel like that is a very bold prediction. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm sure that there are some predictions I could have made that would have been a lot more fun. I was going to throw in there, and maybe I will throw it in there now, that I think NASCAR is going to announce the return of Rockingham for 2025 when the 2025 schedule is released. So let's add that in there as like a prediction number 11, something like that. But I don't know. What do you predict for the 2024 season? What are your bold predictions? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if some of my predictions are wild out there or if you agree with me. Outside of bold predictions, though, we also talk about NASCAR news on this channel, so make sure to follow us at TobyChristieCom and at Above the Yellow Line. Check out our websites as well, all in the description below. And find us on social media for more up-to-date news happenings. Next time we chat, we'll be talking about the Clash, so stay tuned. As always, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you know when we post next. Thank you so much for supporting this channel and us here at TobyChristie.com and Above the Yellow Line. And until next time, I'll see ya. Bye.